Hi everyone, my name is Cerise, and I apologize in advance if this video is windy, which I'm sure there will be parts of it that will be. Hopefully it doesn't mess too much with the audio and you can hear everything I say. If it doesn't, I'm sorry. Just insert random words into the spots that you can't hear. I'm sure it'll still be very, very useful and helpful in your life, or at least amusing. So, if you are a human, which I assume you are, but okay, sure, there's a chance that you're not, then you have probably had a moment where you asked yourself, what the fuck is wrong with me? Why did I just do that? I have done that. I have done and said things where afterwards I cannot understand where it came from. I cannot figure out why I would have gone and done that. Why I had said that. And sometimes we just kind of have a silly moment where we do something stupid and it's not too serious. We just feel like an idiot. But sometimes we can say and do things that really do have an effect on other people or things around us. And a lot of the time afterwards, we have this experience of not understanding or not being able to understand where our actions came from. It's so out of character, it's so extreme. It's like those moments where we overreact over something silly and the reaction is a million times bigger than it really would have been justified, if a reaction can ever be justified, which in my opinion it can't. But it's a million times bigger than the actual context of what happened. So let's get real with this experience of not understanding where our behavior comes from, because the truth of the matter is that we are always responsible for our actions. We are always responsible for our thoughts, for our behavior. So we have created these outbursts, no matter how extreme and unprovoked and how out of character they may be, they do come from somewhere inside of us. We created them. They are not being sent down to us from some evil being that just wants to screw around and make us feel crap about ourselves. It comes from within. So that is what we need to investigate. That point of, okay, where does this come from? Why did I react in that way? And usually, in my experience, my overreactions come from points of where I have been building up a particular response within me over time. So let's say I've been thinking about a thing or a person in a certain way that's been building up an energy, let's say anger. So I've been building this anger and thinking these things over time. Maybe it's days, months, weeks, years, sometimes even. And then one day this thing or this person does something that triggers the explosion of everything that I've been thinking and feeling and generating within me over all this time. And it all comes out at once. And in that moment, it feels uncontrollable. It feels completely overwhelming. It feels like we become this experience, this expression of all the suppressed shit that we've been letting brew inside of ourselves. So that's one dimension that I have seen within myself. Now, obviously, everyone is different, and we all have different scenarios, different situations where things like this can happen, where it may not necessarily be from something like that. It might be something like just a general kind of anger that's been stored within us, that we've stored within us over a long period of time that we haven't effectively dealt with, and particular situations trigger that anger, and it may not be related to the original cause of the anger. Let's say it's childhood issues or relationship issues from a different relationship, and these emotional build-ups can come out in pretty weird and random seeming situations, and that's can sometimes be where these random or sudden bursts of overreaction, of extreme behavior, of extreme responses that can come from that. So, the solution, in both contexts, we're dealing with suppressed emotional experiences. We're dealing with suppressed issues that we have not effectively dealt with, that we are still holding on to, that we're still, in a way, allowing to bubble and boil within us, even if we may not be currently feeding that. If it was there in the past and we didn't effectively let it go, it's not going to go anywhere until we deal with it. So part of dealing with it comes from understanding where that emotional experience comes from. How did it come to be there? And why did we respond in that way? And is that the way that we want to continue responding to any kind of situation? So, yes, these can be challenging points to look at, especially when you're dealing with trauma, things that happened in childhood, where when you're a child, things are in a way done to you and you just have to deal with it the best way that you can. And usually as children, we don't have the tools to deal with things effectively, especially when it's outbursts or anger, or things that are happening around us that we cannot necessarily understand. That, let's take for example a parent having a bad day and taking it out on the child. The child is going to do what they try and figure out they're going to do whatever they need to cope with that, and a lot of the time it is unhealthy coping mechanisms, and a lot of the time it is suppressing those experiences. So yes, investigating these points can be challenging. It can also be painful, but in understanding ourselves within these experiences, we can give ourselves that opportunity to really face what happened, be honest with ourselves, and open the space for forgiveness. And within that point of forgiveness, that's where we can really set ourselves free. Whether it's forgiving ourselves, and sometimes it's forgiving other people. Because yes, a lot of things happen to a lot of people, or let's say that things happen to all of us that really shouldn't happen. And for those moments, we do need to practice forgiveness for the people who did those things to us, because without forgiving them, we're not going to be setting ourselves free, because we're going to be constantly giving them the power of, they did this to me and I cannot change myself because it was done to me by someone else. They are responsible. So we need to take the responsibility for ourselves and change what we can, which is everything inside of ourselves, to create a better inner experience, an inner peace, and to change ourselves moving forward, to change destructive response patterns to constructive ones, to change coping mechanisms to solutions. And that's always up to us. Okay, if you have any questions or comments, please leave a comment or send a direct message to the page, and I will do my best to answer you in another video if necessary. If you would like to support me in the Get Real page, you can do so by following the link. You can become a patron
on our Patreon profile.
And I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.